so much. They got nothing to say. Some people got the right words and they're what we need to hear.
Cheers!
Cheers! Cheers!
Are you guys ready for this game? Okay. So it's kind of like truth or dare, but there's no daring involved. Don't worry.
Okay, thank God.
No one has to strip.
I'm ready for the
Because
dare.
I'm so competitive. I always do the dare.
She
I
always
dare
wants-
you.
She wants to win at everything. Okay, so I'm just gonna choose a question,
Okay.
and we're just gonna answer as brutally honest as possible. And if you want to plead the fifth and like not answer, just take a sip.
Okay.
No playing the fifth.
Okay, first question. Okay, in terms of raising kids, what would you do differently from your parents?
Oh, we talked about that. I think for me, like, if ever I had any, we talked about this.
Yes.
Was it with you? Earlier today, actually, but all of us, is that I feel like my mom, because my mom and my dad were separated, I feel like if that was to ever happen to me, knock on wood, I wouldn't hurt that relationship between my kid and their father.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of moms, it's like difficult for them to like not do
To
that.
separate.
Like grown-ups are grown-ups and kids are kids.
Right. You
You're
should always
totally
try to
right.
protect your kid's relationship with the father,
Yeah.
no matter what's going on. But that being said, we're saying this because, you know,
Our
we're
boyfriends are
right, like
yes, but
we're fine and we don't
Yeah,
have those
exactly.
issues. But if you have
A
a
crazy
partner,
boyfriend,
if
yeah.
you have someone that was supposed to be your life partner, that
Yeah.
was supposed to be your rock, and they are not, or they've disappointed you, or they hurt you,
yes.
it hurts differently.
Yeah.
Like
I
it's hard
know.
to separate that and
It
all
is.
of a sudden be mature or rational.
I
and,
couldn't
like-
agree more. But I think I told you about my sister with her kids. Like her baby daddy basically, because my sister doesn't believe in marriage. She's like Rasta, like
Oh,
Okay.
really?
she's
Okay.
super
Rasta.
She's different
super
from you.
opposite of me. It's so
Okay.
dope. But anyway, yeah. I always say like she's so
Drea with
chill.
dreads.
She's just like she's small. She looks like Lauryn Hill actually. Like
Really?
like
Oh,
yeah.
cute.
Anyway, like 2 years ago, like her baby daddy, like he's awesome now in the life and everything, but he wasn't really ready for kids, and he didn't show up to like the father-daughter dance. So I remember asking like my other sister, Deidre, because there's 5 of us on that side, what does Sarah do? And she was like, she just called my baby brothers, and like my brothers showed up for them, and she told the kids, Daddy had to work late. So
Oh,
like
she didn't bash
She
them.
covered.
She didn't. She
not at all,
covered
because
She
she didn't
covered
want
them.
that to affect
the kids.
the kids.
Because you put your kids
I would
first.
definitely do that,
Yeah.
but behind door.
Oh, she
my God.
she went off on her.
I'm
Don't
ready
get
to
me
get a
wrong.
new one.
Girl, he showed up this year with the tuxedo on and everything.
Right, okay.
But when it happened, like she did like what she had to do to make sure that her kids didn't have any daddy issues.
Right.
And I kind of, like I was like, I don't know if I would be the mom that would be able to do that.
Right.
Like to be able to be like, no, daddy had to work late. He's doing it for us, this and that, whatever.
You would.
I don't-
I think you
Just
would.
do it.
You
You
know
would.
why you
You
would?
would,
Because
yeah.
when you see the hurt on your kid's face, you're like, I don't want you to feel that.
Yeah.
You know, so even if you have a lot of resentment, you are going to try to protect your kid as
So
much
you'll
as
be that
possible.
mom, if anything. See what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's a
Oh,
lot of
yes.
women who can't
And because
hide
you
it.
experienced it.
Yeah.
Right.
See,
that's a
and
good
me
point.
too. My mom
Well.
like hated my dad, still hates my dad. And for me, I'm separated from my husband, but I don't have anything really bad to say.
Okay.
To be honest,
you don't
know.
feel any resentment towards him.
No, like I think that what our parents weren't aware of and what they didn't do is like the healing.
Okay.
I feel like my mom hasn't healed. She never healed from
Okay.
my dad breaking her heart, and that's what comes out because
Right.
they're just like hurt and they don't know how to hide it. You know, and I think like, when we first broke up, like I was like crying and stuff, and my son Hugo would see me, and but that's like real life, you know.
Right.
For him to see me sad, you know, I want him to know that it is sad,
You want him to understand it.
that I am sad, you know.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to hide it from him.
No.
Because, yeah, what about like
It
certain
happens
things are
spontaneously,
adult
yeah.
subject or certain things, you know, there's adult experiences and subjects and kids should be kids.
For sure, but
Right.
sometimes it just happens like spontaneously, like
Right.
like when it was fresh, like I would just be with him and I would be in the moment and I would just be like,
Okay.
yeah.
And how does he react?
It would
'Cause
just come
kids pick
out.
up on that.
Yeah, he does.
do.
He would just be like, they comfort you.
Yeah. I remember the first
They
time I
get
saw
it.
my mom cry was when my stepdad died.
Yeah.
And she was like crying like a baby. And I was just like,
Oh,
what do I
yes.
do? Like, it was like weird. And then my baby brother was 4 at the time. And I just remember him going on the bed and like cradling her and like patting her and stuff like
Right.
that. And I was just so like, good for him that he's seen her do this like now. Because for me, I didn't know what to do.
Right.
Because I was older, 16, 17. I was just like,
Okay, so you were older.
what do
yeah.
I do? Mom was
It's not
crying like a
awkward.
baby.
How
like,
old you said? 16?
I was
17?
16 when my
And how old was
stepdad
he?
died. 4.
For
Four.
little kids, they
Cause-
toddlers, they have more. Yeah.
I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this because I remember at some point, so my mother was sick and my dad had injured his eye, and it was just like really a down time in the household. And I remember my dad being just so stressed out and like getting emotional, and it was like the first time I seen my dad cry. Because you don't see
Yeah.
your parents cry,
No.
especially not your daddy. You know, so it was like the first time, and I was so shocked. And I don't know if he forgot that I was in the room or that he was just so vulnerable that he said it. He was just like, I'm just so worried. I'm not doing well. Your mom's not doing well. Like, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, he was kind of saying his
He's venting
worries
to
out
you.
loud. And as a kid, I remember that really affecting me to a point where I was sad for a long period of time after because I was worried. And I thought, like, what if both my parents die? What am I going to do, you know? And I don't think that kids should have that kind of worry.
I don't
so
think
young.
that-
How old are you?
I was maybe 8.
Okay, but you're
8
older
years
though.
old.
No, also I think
Oh,
my
as
mom is
well.
in postpartum, right?
older.
Like my dad died when she had given birth like
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Oh my God.
So like she had like this 2-3 week old child,
Goodness.
and her husband died. So I think that like her circumstance,
That's-
because we
yeah.
had never seen her cry. I think that she just genuinely didn't know
How
Right.
how to
yeah.
manage it and
Yeah.
like what to do. Like imagine like my little Malachi was right there at 3 weeks, and then she was like at a funeral in Texas
my
and like had to
God.
bring her kids from Virginia. I think that she was just
Oh, my goodness.
Really
I
messed
can't.
up.
I can't even imagine.
yeah. I think that I don't think that she would have if she knew like.
Right.
I think that because she'd been so, and we had lost a lot of people in my family. Like I've dealt with loss like at a young age,
Okay.
and she never cried.
Okay.
So I think it really had a lot to do with her postpartum.
Well,
So
for
bottom line,
sure.
you would just,
I mean,
hide this from your kids?
I don't
This is
know. I can't say
something
if
you
I
would do
would or if I
differently?
wouldn't because I don't have a kid.
How do you know she was going through postpartum? She told you?
I remember after she gave birth, and I remember her being sad. I do remember that, and I remember Pops saying to us, "Mom, your mom is kind of sad. We're gonna let her sleep a little bit."
But just for the record, you can be, like, even when you don't have postpartum depression after birth,
You just be sad.
you could be sad. 'Cause
Yeah, I
it's
don't
a
know what
lot.
it is.
It's
I
a lot.
just
Like,
remember her being so
I mean,
sad.
correct me if I'm wrong. We both have kids, and I feel like first of all, your body just went through so much, and emotionally, it's a lot. And all of a sudden, you are responsible for a whole new life. Like your emotions are like
Yeah.
this. Okay.
Yeah, she was like
was
really
scary.
sad.
Yes, it's scary.
The first kid is really scary.
It's very.
I remember
scary.
this one being different though from the other ones because it was her 5th kid.
Okay.
I remember it was different though.
Okay.
Like the way that she was
Okay,
acting.
so maybe it was postpartum.
Yeah, like
okay.
the like
you knew it, yeah.
Deidre and Derek, she would give birth. She came back and it was like happy. She was like showing the kid
Okay.
off. This was different.
Okay.
Okay.
It's weird because it's almost
Yeah.
as if she knew something was gonna happen. Like she was
Really?
almost like
Wow,
it's really
maybe.
weird.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what would you do different
About what?
from that situation? Like, would you? Do
I
you
would have
thi-
gotten
would
help. I
You
would have
would've
had.
gotten help.
I would have
Okay.
gotten help, and I would have had family around.
Okay.
We had no one because my mom had basically like cut everyone off, right?
Right.
Oh,
So it was like us against the world in her
Right.
mind.
got it.
I think she needed her family around her. She needed some help.
I think a lot of people it's like that nowadays
Yeah.
because like back in the days, it used to be communities
A village
rallying
to raise
around.
a
Yeah,
kid.
literally, that's where the saying comes from.
village,
It takes
yeah.
a village to raise a kid, and even like after that, people had their church community
Yeah.
and stuff. But now, church people don't go to
Yeah.
church
No.
as much. We're
Yeah.
we're not involved in the community, so it's a lot more individualistic
I agree.
than it used to be.
Yep.
And I think that's why. And anyways, that's my opinion.
I don't
why
even know why we don't go to church anymore.
depression is higher.
Like we just stopped going to church. Like I grew up in the church. like my uncle was the preacher of our church, and then I just remember not going to church anymore. I don't know what
Maybe
happened.
because it was forced
Drastic?
when you were younger. I know
think
for
there's a lot
us
of
it was
corruption in
forced.
churches.
But my mom
That-
was the
yeah,
one
that-
who was like
that
forcing
too.
it though. That's the thing. And then
That's
all of a
another
sudden she
topic.
just
Well, actually,
Something
speaking
must
of
have happened.
church,
Something
that's
must have
another thing. That's one of the things that I would do different with my children. I want to expose them to different types of religion and for them to choose
I think that's a
which
good
one
idea.
works for them.
Spiritually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I was
Yeah.
forced like
Me too.
Christian church, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Protestant, like down my throat.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's probably why I don't go now.
Yeah.
But for my kids, I do want them to learn about it.
Yeah.
Because I do find value in religion. And, you know, correction, spirituality.
Yes, spirituality.
Yes,
That's
I
funny,
find
yeah.
value in that. And so I do want my daughter to learn about that. But I wanted her to choose,
Whatever she
which
goes
path
over.
she
Yeah,
wants.
absolutely.
That is one thing I would definitely do different. And I don't know, you guys might disagree, but I feel like people should argue in front of their kids.
Shouldn't.
Should.
Should.
And let me explain.
Okay, but you're,
Let me
okay,
explain.
but you're
Wait,
saying
wait.
how we shouldn't be sad in front of our kids,
Yes,
but we're going to argue in front of our kids?
because the reason I say this is because I grew up in a household where my parents never argued in front of us. And I feel like as an adult, I had to learn on my own kind of like conflict resolution and how to have a mature argument without saying, screw you, F this, I'm out of here.
I do agree with that.
And
Yeah.
I feel like
My
I want my
parents
kids to
debated.
learn. Yeah, I want them to learn how to debate.
They
how
never
to get
yelled
their
at each
point
other.
across politely. Because
Yeah.
there's a way to argue with
With
people with respect, without cursing. My poor husband, he doesn't curse like me, but I throw the F bomb every once in a while.
Yeah. New York comes out.
Oh
when she's
yeah,
mad.
the
I'm
New
like,
York in me
"Ooh."
comes out, and I'm like, F this, F you, F everything, and like it's awful.
Call me again. No, you didn't. You said
Really?
yes, girl.
Yes.
She knows that.
When I
really?
get it, like it takes a while for me to get there, but once I get there, it's like 0
I
to
see you
100.
as like super sweet. I can never imagine.
I usually am.
You are.
I feel like that's actually a good point. I grew up with my parents debating.
Yeah.
And she's been privy to this because of our past, but like my parents never yelled. Even with me, before as you know, we talked before I even got a whooping, my dad would send me to my room and like he'd leave and they come in, they'd be like, do you know what's about to happen? What did you do wrong? And I'd have to explain myself and I'd have to articulate what I did wrong and actually explain that I knew and stuff like that. And with Mensa,
And then you get the spanking.
and then I get to speak it. But with Mensa,
Talk about that later
Mensa
on.
tends to yell, and like I'll be like, I need you to lower your voice. And then
Right.
when I say I need you to lower your voice, it's like a trigger
A
to
trigger,
him.
yeah.
And so I have to learn how to actually like say lower your voice without it being a trigger.
Yeah.
Because for me, yelling is like a
It's a
trigger for
trigger.
me
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I've never been preview to that as a kid. I never like when my parents were about to get to the point where they were yelling. My dad would close his eyes and take a deep breath and count to 10.
Oh, that's
Wow.
good. That's really
And
good.
if he opened his eyes and he was still feeling some type of way, he'd be like, he
Like,
count to
praise
10.
God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
You had
Totally
really good
do
parents,
that,
though.
yeah.
You
They just
realize-
never yell.
you
And when he
realize-
goes home with me and like we talk loud because we're from the South. He's like, would you guys talk loud? And like my sisters and my mom and stuff, my mom says like talking loud is just our culture. We
Right.
don't yell at each other. That's the
okay.
difference. Like
Right.
lower your voice. And when my mom said it to him for the first time, I was like, dead.
Wow, but the other thing you were talking about spanking, the beatings.
Yeah.
Is that what you would do different?
Yeah, I would definitely do that differently.
You're
Really?
not going to spank your kids?
You
not
would
gonna
beat
spank
them
my
differently.
Watch
right?
her Watch her little Tasmanian devil.
The belt.
But would you
was
let other people
Not
spank
the
your kids?
belt, but like
belt?
something
Man,
else.
I had the belt. Listen.
Yeah.
But would you let like
Take
your
it
mom
down.
spank your kids?
No.
See, my sister's weird. That's weird. She doesn't spank her kids, but she lets other people spank them.
Wow.
That's a little
Weird.
weird.
It's
That's
weird, right?
That's a little weird.
That's a little weird.
Because you're
Weird.
either for or you're against spanking.
It's weird.
I'm
not-
against it.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm totally against
I'm
it
totally
because
against it.
How would you punish them
100%?
then?
100%.
Well,
I can't even yell at him. I just,
Really?
How do you punish them?
I just talk to him. Or I say, oh, go.
And then
go.
what?
Or I put him, or I say, okay, you can't have the iPad. you can't do this. You're not gonna get this. Like, I'll put him in the room, or I'll just try to talk to him, and I'll try to explain to him like why this is not.
And that works?
Well, I mean,
No, see, the way she answered, that does not work.
Okay, he may be throwing a tantrum, but I let him.
How old is he?
He's 4.
Okay.
I let
Okay,
him
he's a
do
bit
his
older.
thing.
He can understand.
And I just wait for him to finish out. I let him.
Oh, you wait for him to throw the
If he wants to yell and scream and cry, I'm
Right.
like, okay.
I do
Wow,
let
you're
I
good,
let Charlie
though.
finish
I'm
her
very
tantrum.
calm.
That's
With
true.
the eyes.
I do let Charlie finish her tantrums, whatever's going on, and then she'll just stop when she notices
get over
that.
it.
Yeah, she's like, okay,
You know,
mommy's not paying me attention.
they
She'll
forget.
stop, and then she'll do something else.
Exactly.
Okay.
However, I have a little tap on the bum for safety issues. Like
of
because in the
course.
car, sometimes she thought it was funny to like undo her seatbelt or take her arm out.
Okay.
So for that, I would spank her so that she understands
Well,
the
it's
severity
this.
of it.
It's not the belt.
No, it's not the
I'm
belt.
just saying,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go
mean,
that far. I mean,
Well, our
I've
parents
seen
did.
kids-
yeah. I got
Yeah.
the belt. I got
Girl.
Yeah.
slippers.
I
I got
I
everything.
remember I got like a wooden his like
Yes.
fraternity thing. He's like, come on, Dre. I'm like,
And-
what?
but-
A paddle?
But I do think that spanking does have its place, but not the way our parents did
No,
it.
my God.
Also, I don't think you'll have to spank all your children.
Right.
'Cause-
It depends on their personalities
they're
as
all
well.
different.
Yes. Some kids are more sensitive than other
My
kids.
sister says the boy will literally lie as he's getting a whipping. But like one of her twin girls, she'll be like, I'm disappointed in you, and like her world is like done.
It's over.
She's disappointed.
Sensitive.
Yes.
Like, if I just yell at my son, he's like, if I actually
affects
yell
him.
at him and like
Yeah.
kind of lose it on him, he's just like so heartbroken.
Aww.
So,
So, you
like,
don't need to spank
I
him.
know,
Yeah,
like to hit
no.
him, I was like, why would I hit you?
So he's
That
like
is-
Aaliyah,
that's something
yeah.
I would definitely do different.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's that. So for me, what did I say it was already? I already forgot. I already forgot.
It was
Oh,
to
the
argue.
argue.
The
Yeah,
arguing.
I would argue in
Arguing
front of
with-
them.
In front of them.
Yeah, so that they learn conflict resolution. For you, it's spanking. For you, what would it
Getting
be?
help when it's
I would
not-
keep in touch. I would get help.
Get help and keep in touch with the family if
Yeah.
anything
I
happens.
keep the village around me.
Yeah.
Right. So
I feel like
even
she
if-
didn't keep the village around us.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
we don't have that extended.
And what would it be for you?
I
It's
would
different.
try to be more present. I felt like our parents were so like involved in their lives and their dramas or whatever. They're trying to hide from us or whatever it is.
Right.
That they just didn't actually just kind of like be like, hey,
I'm here.
like how are you? Like
Oh,
how are you?
yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
I feel like I never ever had that.
Okay.
Okay.
And that my parents, they weren't like bad parents or anything like
I
that.
feel like even as an adult, I would want that.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a culture. Like we
Right.
don't give ourselves that. We don't ask ourselves like, oh,
We ask everybody else.
yeah, how are you? How
Yeah.
are you?
Right.
We don't like this kind of like just like slowing everything down to be
Right.
like, oh, like are you okay? Like what's
Right.
going on?
I definitely felt like on the emotional side, as a kid, I would have liked to have more. I feel like, and I think a lot of immigrant parents are like that. They were just worried about paying the bills, keeping a house,
I totally get it.
like
I
keeping
totally
a
get it.
roof over our heads. So that was their focus, to make sure that we had everything we need. So unfortunately, the emotional aspect took
Wasn't
a back
there.
seat. Yeah. So that's a good point.
Yeah, but I think it's because they were probably neglected from their parents.
Right.
Like the trauma was worse
Right.
for them.
Were you raised? You were raised in Los Angeles.
Yeah, in LA. Yeah.
Right. So how about cheers to us being better parents than our parents?
Yeah, it's
hopefully.
But I still love you, Mama.
Yes, we still have a
Yes, we still love them. They did what they
I'm
could.
not trying to get a
They
whooping
did
now.
what they could with what they had at
That's
the
it.
time.
That's
Yes.
it. Cheers.
Cheers.